FromSoft recently released their first ever attempt at an Elden Ring roguelike. And while there are a few things they could change to make this game even better, it's still a whole lot of fun. And after 50 hours, I finally give you my Nightlord ranking. Before we start, here are a few ground rules. All of this was done in co-op since that's the intended mode, and I suspect that doing this in solo wouldn't change my ranking too much. No bugs or glitches, and I'm not sure if this is important or not, but every boss was beaten as Wilder since that's my main. Just thought I'd put that out there, but without further ado, let's get into it. Number 8. Sentient Pest. The Sentient Pest is pretty weird, as I feel like the moth is what looks to be the main boss, but coming to the second phase, you realize that apparently they're the same thing. In its first phase, the moth and scorpion looking thing are separate, so the general strategy is to have one person target the moth and the other two targeting the scorpion. For the most part, this boss honestly doesn't really do much of anything. The moth will fly around shooting these projectiles that are very easy to dodge, and then the scorpion will roar, which does damage for some reason, and then dig underground. In its second phase, they will fuse like Vegito, aka the moth will simply just land on the scorpion. Then they will do these dashes as the scorpion is much more aggressive and do these kind of little tank moves where the moth will shoot a bunch of projectiles out. While the Juno ult and the poison can be a little concerning and sometimes get you, this boss doesn't really do much of anything, and I easily beat this thing first try. Number 7. Gladius. I realized I just flip-flopped on the names, but it's kind of confusing when you queue for a boss, and then fighting at the end, it has a different name. But anyways, Gladius is pretty tough, because he is the first Nightlord you fight. I know for me at least, this boss actually took me the 4th most amount of tries and hours in the game, and this is mainly due to me not playing the game too much, and being very rusty, not to mention not even being used to my character yet. Hell, I even remember not knowing how to even ult or use my grappling hook. That's how much of a bot I was. Gladius is pretty cool though. It's a triple-headed dog with a large sword that has massive range. It also has quick fire breaths that can be confusing to dodge, but you can get the hang of it pretty quickly. It has this move where the 3 dogs will split, and if you get caught lacking, all 3 of them can aggro on you, and then it can be pretty tricky to dodge. For the most part, this boss serves as a tutorial, and it does that pretty well, because after trying and failing, you're much more prepared after defeating this guy for the nightmares that are coming up. Number 6. Caligo. Now, if you guys have seen my other Elden Ring rankings, you know that I absolutely hate dragon bosses. So going into this, I was prepared to have my ass handed to me multiple times. Which is why I was pretty surprised that I actually beat this guy first try. Now, I will say this. As Wilder and having the whetstone, almost all my attacks were able to inflict at his weakness, which is fire. Another thing is that my attempt at this guy was done on the Ice Mountain map, which have a lot of bosses that drop frostbite resistance and anti-dragon effects. So that definitely helped. But I think the big thing I noticed when fighting this guy was the large windows of vulnerability and also the strange lack of damage. To me at least, this boss rarely felt like he could one-shot me compared to many of the others that had me downing flasks like a college alcoholic when they hear about a new Twisted Tea flavor drop. For the most part, he has pretty basic dragon attacks like slams, tail slaps, and ice breath. What makes this boss really cool is the ice rocks he drops on the ground, as well as having attacks that literally send meteors at you. Caligo has a lot of amazing aspects, and even things like the ice mist that you need to listen to in order to dodge are sick, which I will say this, side note, I remember this happening to me when I was fighting this guy, and I must have just got really lucky because I had no idea what was going on and was just running around and literally nothing happened to me. Anyways though, this boss is awesome, and even though it's a dragon, it still gets an A+ for me. Number 5. Augur. Fuck this boss. I'm sorry, I just needed to say what I know everyone was thinking, but this boss is lame as fuck. Let me just say this, having a boss that puts you to sleep if you get close, spends the whole fight running away and flying, spawns random nukes is not exactly a boss a Wilder main really likes to fight. Augur is weak to lightning, which luckily is easy to find, but for the most part, this boss really just runs away. It will spawn weird blobs and tentacles to hit you, but all things considered, you really just have to be patient with this boss, and wait for the right times to strike. But still, I fucking hate this boss. And if this didn't tell you enough, I know that this clip will definitely will. Please. It's... No! No! Why, Archer? Why? Oh my god, if they were just... Number 4. Dark Drift Knight. Marking the halfway point is a Dark Drift Knight. This dude rides around on a horse with a giant lance and feels almost like fighting a buffed up tree sentinel. Now, I will say, much like a tree sentinel, the timings and dodging can feel a little off sometimes. But once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. Its second phase causes it to go super speed and go crazy around the arena, having this weird purple arm that has infinite range. What's strange about this boss is the weird moments where it felt like I had no idea what was happening, yet still managed to dodge. Like, I beat this guy on my first try, and looking back, I don't even know how. Like, in a strange way, this guy just really didn't feel like a challenge. We weren't like level 15 or anything either. I don't know, but this guy is a fan favorite, and I think it's pretty well deserved, because his attacks and design are fucking awesome. Number 3. Gaping Jaw. Okay, now I've seen other people's opinions of this boss, and I already know that people are gonna give me shit on this, but dude, I just can't with this boss. His first phase is very easy, as he pretty much just lunges at you and leaves himself open for a punish every time. Not to mention that if you find a poison weapon, he will begin to vomit, which gives you a large window of opportunity to just fuck this guy up. But when things get really crazy is that second phase. He will begin to do these AoE lightning attacks that just come out super fast. For me, this boss almost felt like a little mini Placidus Sax, which you guys know if you've watched that video, wasn't a friend to me. I was talking about this earlier, that some bosses didn't feel like they had that threat of just instantly one-shotting you. Well, this guy definitely does, and showed it to me many times. Many of you guys know that I made a TikTok talking about how it took me 8 hours to beat this guy, and I literally did a 6.5 hour stream just to beat this one boss. And besides all the scale issue comments, there was one comment specifically that foreshadowed my suffering even more than this fucking boss did. Number 2. Equilibrious Beast. Well, that comment was definitely right, as this fucking boss was actually insane to deal with. When you first walk in, you have the option to do a deal, and I thought I was going to get something nice and useful. But for the most part, these deals were always bad, and just took more HP, which I was gonna need in order to kill this guy. Libra immediately shows why he is a step above the bosses that came before him in his speed. He throws a ton of madness projectiles that if not dodged correctly, will just kill you. Even if the base damage doesn't, the madness that will be inflicted, or the combos that this guy will do to you, will. However, the biggest bullshit thing about this guy is this seal attack, where he will meditate. Now, my first few runs, I didn't even know you could break the seals in order to prevent his transformation. But either way, after the first meditation, the seals will be put above areas where Wilder could hit. From testing, you can actually ult him to break out of this, but if you don't have it, he will gain this armor, which gives him damage negation and causes his madness projectiles to go berserk. All of a sudden, he gets a 360 machine gun and will just start spamming that shit across the entire arena. If that's not enough, he will do this attack that requires you to pick up these stones to prevent madness, which is just straight RNG on whether or not you get them close to you. But anyways, even if you do prevent him from going into this form, the enraged one is still no pushover, and will throw madness liquid everywhere. This boss one-shot me so many times that it just felt like he really never stopped attacking. If it was this bad in co-op, I can only imagine what it's like in singles, and there really was only one other boss that actually made me go just as mad as this guy did. Number 1. Primordial Nightlord. Whatever name you call him, you probably expected him to be at this spot. The Primordial Nightlord is the final boss of the game, and just on his appearance alone, you definitely feel it. He starts as a very basic knight, that will do these sword combos to you that are pretty easy to dodge, and he's pretty slow in this one. If you've played a game like this before, you obviously knew this was only his first form. In his second, the whole arena turns purple, and he would begin to have his damage kicked up to 100. All of a sudden, lunge attacks are eating half your HP, and different things you didn't think would hit you, do. In his kind of third phase, he will float up to the air and open an eye that will give him a random effect to his sword. He'll then drop a kind of nuke all over the arena that leaves me with barely any HP left. The struggle with this guy for me was that feeling of small mistakes snowballing so fast. If I got hit, I'd pretty much always have to use a flash, and if I only had about 5 flashes on a run, that means getting hit really hurts. Not to mention that reviving a teammate can be very risky because he could always just teleport to you and begin one of his combos. Honestly, after hours of fighting this guy, and actually beating him twice now, I don't find him as daunting as I did before, but this fight will still always fill me with hype no matter what. I will say, my only wish is that I feel like they should have made this guy harder. I know I just got done talking about his difficulty, and while it's definitely there, a lot of these guys' combos feel like they're going to keep going, but then just don't. I found many times I'd be waiting for another attack, only for him to back off and letting me get a free punish as he's going to attack one of my teammates. I would love to see something like this guy coming into a potential Elden Ring 2, but I think he would need a serious buff, because I feel like, well, he maybe does have a large learning curve. Once you make it there, you kind of cruise through this fight. Nevertheless though, he's still, in my opinion, the hardest boss in Elden Ring Nightreign, and I feel like for his design and filling this spot, feels absolutely deserved. Easy fucking dodges. Easy fucking dodges! Let's go! Bang! Finally! A Wilder that's not throwing! Oh my god! Oh my god! Finally someone that's beaten the game that's not throwing! Oh my god! Yes. Thank you all so much for watching. For those who wanted to just skip to the end, here's the final list. I had a lot of fun in this game, and I would love to see it get more updates, because I feel like it has so much missed potential if they can just fix some of the issues with the game. But I still had so much fun, and think it's an absolute dream to play. I'm confident that FromSoft can do it, but anyways, let me know if I was wrong about anything, and please subscribe if you want to see more Elden Ring content on this channel. Otherwise though, that's all I got, so everyone take care, and I'll see y'all around.